The first step is to develop relationships, and we develop relationships, but this is a continuous process. The more we work with a site, the more we learn about it and the needs and the opportunities. In our case, we reached out to the nutrition director because we wanted to work at the district level where we could make the most impact and support the district as a whole. So this is step one, is to develop relationships. And from here, we move on to step two, which is offer support. And at the beginning, step one and step two were somewhat intertwined because we reached out to offer support for their summer food service program. And we wanted to increase the reach. And so we disseminated flyers and offer activities during summer food service program to increase participation. And whenever we offer support, we want to keep them in the know. We want to let them know that we're actually doing something. And this also strengthens our relationship and the level of trust because we follow through. Step three is to lighten the load. And if you look at it, you also see a leaf at the bottom of that petal in the stem. The local wellness policy started to bloom as we made it more attainable through supportive actions based on their local wellness policy goals. For example, we offered to get their local wellness policy assessed. Our state evaluation team provided recommendations, which the district worked on. And this was one less thing that they had to do on their own. And it gave them ideas to improve their local wellness policy. And our program also provided support through nutrition education that supports their local wellness policy goals. We provided fun staff training on physical activity for PE staff, as well as technical assistance to implement their Smarter Lunchrooms movement, as well as staff training. And with Smarter Lunchrooms movement, we also worked with students at one of the schools through their 21st Century program. If you work through a teacher that is very excited about working in wellness, you're going to be doing great because at this program, at this particular school, the students were the ones that promoted the breakfast program. They set up bulletins for milk, and they were so excited. They even made a video and they even made smoothies. So we worked together, and this helped their Smarter Lunchrooms movement at that school. And this is how we help lighten the load. The fourth step is to check in. And this can happen at any moment and is continuous. Even when it looks like you might not get anywhere and there are other setbacks. In our case, it was COVID. I worked for the health department, and at that moment, I was working part-time COVID and part-time AZ Health Zone. And the school at that time, they may not have had local wellness policy as their priority. They had other priorities. So it's important to ask, how are you doing? Or send them an email, check in, see what is happening. And sometimes you learn things that you perhaps would not have learned otherwise. And we learned that the school was having the Farmers to Families program, and we were able to help them disseminate flyers with our other partners that we collaborate with. And this allowed for us to work with our other housing partners, because just through casual conversation, we found out that some of the housing residents were not able to have access to those boxes because of lack of transportation. So we were able to coordinate a way to get those food boxes from the district to the housing residents that needed them. And that was something that was very good for the housing sites, for the residents, and they were very thankful. And that's just checking in. And many other things can happen when you check in, just to make sure how they're doing. Give them a pat in the back because they're doing hard work and they might be struggling, and they're still doing a good job. So step 5, let's move on to step 5. And this is to find opportunities and build community. So you might be asking about shacks. And shacks can come and go. And that is the truth. And sometimes a shack can become an abandoned house, but it can come to life if we bake something sweet and delicious in it. And this is when we find an opportunity or a nice recipe. So we found ours when we participated in a Dream Play Build training on community engagement. And it allowed us to engage teachers in a fun PD day, professional development day. I did not mention the word policy because the word policy can deter many people from participation, and we did not want that. The teachers worked in teams, and in this activity, what we did is that we promoted as a dream it, build it activity. So it's a hands-on activity where they create a vision of something that they like with trinkets. And they were able to create their school wellness environment, their dream school wellness environment in practice. And they worked in teams with minimal instructions. So they were given minimal instructions one by one as they were completing these items, and they were presented to the group. They came up with activities of their choice and chose their top 3 choices in which to work. At the end, I did have to tell them that it was part of the local wellness policy, but they created some very neat ideas that they would like to work on. And they had great conversations and reasoned why certain things should be a certain way, and they were very reasonable. Of course, I mentioned that I would take their information back and share it with Michael, who is a nutrition director, who thought they were very good ideas. And these teachers will be invited to plan out these activities to come to fruition as part of their shack. And they even told us that Wednesdays would work for them. And this is step 5, find opportunities and build communities. So sometimes we have trainings and we may not know that they can help us in a certain way, but through conversations with colleagues and other people, we can find a way to use them. And this is where we are, back to planning and getting all those steps going again. And they don't necessarily have to come in order from 1 through 5. They can come in any order. And this school district's policy, by the way, is considered a model policy, but it is the actions that we take and the people that make them work.